Thank you very much for downloading this featured content or listening live, depending on how you are listening to Solihull Radio via solihullradio.com. Thank you very much for doing that. Today we are joined live in the studio by a guy called David Andrew. Now, David Andrew is a local fella. He comes from Birmingham. He and I are going to have a chat about effectively perspective and all the work that David is doing via his coaching and his mindset teachings, and just basically thinking about how we change our perspective in terms of business, our relationships, our social sort of journeys that we're on. So I want to hear exactly how, A, David got into doing this, and B, you know, where does it all come from? There's been a big push for well-being and mindfulness over the last 5 or so years. So let's say hi to him, see how he is, and take it from there. David, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, Jeff.
No problems at all. You're more than welcome. And now you've been into Solihull Radio. You are a friend of Solihull Radio, so you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No problems. Right, tell us a little bit about what you do and how it all works for you. And let's start with the idea of where did you come from? What life experiences made you choose this?
Well, originally I was born in Bombay, India, and I grew up there. I've been here for about 34 years now. And I kind of retired about 18 months ago from Birmingham City Council. I'm not at retirement age yet, but I took an early retirement because I wanted to pursue my calling, so my vision, to help people from the experience that I've been through and how I overcame them. And I thought to myself, if I can do it, many people can do it too. 'Cause I'm no different to anybody. So I thought, why don't I just go out and do what I really do well and help people, just real people basically, you know. And I just kind of share my experience, which enables them to resonate. The stories are very much the same. The scenarios are different, but the story is pretty much the same, where people feel anxious or stressful or worried, depressed, anything. And so I thought, I've experienced all those things. And today I'm pleased to say that I do have those normal challenges that everybody faces, but I have got a set of tools, a mindset that I've developed, which took me some time to get there. But once it starts working, you just use it every day.
And it almost becomes second nature.
Yeah, it's part of my lifestyle, because when it's a lifestyle, it's easy to live that way. We all have different lifestyles. So I choose to live stress-free life, if that's the right word to use in this context. But I don't really feel stressful about things, which is not like something happened to my mind. I don't know, but I look at situation and I say to myself, there's a problem. This is a real big problem. My business is not taken off yet. I'm not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm going to pay the bills from,
Yeah.
the mortgage, the kids' school fees and everything. Yeah. Now, that's a problem. So what do I do? And there are ways that you can deal with those problems without actually damaging your own life, your own mind, your own physical, emotional, mental health.
Yeah.
So when I do this kind of thing, my wife thinks, how are you doing it? Don't you feel like this? I said, honey, I just feel exactly what you're saying, but I have some tools that I implement through my thoughts. That's what actually enables me to deal with those things effectively, sometimes even effortlessly.
Wow. So let me ask you this then. You've obviously gone through some experiences in your life, and your journey has taken some turns where you have had to deal with stresses, being anxious, maybe elements of feeling sad and depression and loneliness and things. Now, how did you start either coming out of that and putting the tools into your toolbox that you thought to yourself, next time that comes around, I'm going to use this?
True.
How,
Can I actually quote something that I actually read?
Yeah.
And I read this for maybe thousands of times in my life before, but actually never sunk into my thinking. And it comes from the Bible, if that's okay to say.
Yeah.
And it says that do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Okay.
It's a great saying, and I've read it over the years and even talked about it, but actually never knew what it truly meant. So I went through a very bad patch in my life about 8-9 years ago.
Okay.
Where I hit rock bottom to the point of ending my life too. And almost was going to be homeless and ready to live in my car. And so when you had everything, then you lose everything. You think, where do I go from here? Because it's like a cul-de-sac, or you start to reverse back out.
That's right.
Yeah, and to me...
Good metaphor there. Yeah.
And to me, I began to say, I can't reverse all the way because I can't see. So I turned around from that cul-de-sac, like how you turn around your car.
Yeah.
You did a U-turn and you say, I'm going to start going back now. And it took me about 7 years to change the way I think. It seemed like a long time, but I wanted to do a good job, not something that starts off and then fizzles away. So I found about 23 things in my life, to the quote that I said, which I was conforming to. And that confirmation wasn't something like other people are doing because it's right or wrong or good or bad. It wasn't just good for me. For example, if you take someone else's prescribed medication, it's meant to do good to that particular person. But if you took it, it's not meant to help you. So I looked at a lot of things. They were just small things, but the underpinning factor was that I used to get angry very quickly, annoyed, angry, irritated, not aggressive, not violent, but just angry. And that kind of permeated into everything that I did. I was stemming from anger.
And finding it hard to control that anger?
Well, I did find it hard to control. I mean, I was never volatile, thankfully. I was never volatile or smashing things around,
But that was all internalized then, wasn't it?
It was all internalized. And sometimes, you just vent it out somewhere.
Yeah.
And sadly, sad to say, but you're the nearest and the dearest ones actually get the most brunt of it.
All of that then was effectively, that anger was internalized for you.
Internalized, and it manifested itself in a lot of physical, chronic illnesses like thyroids I had, turned into diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol level high, gout, mouth ulcers, skin rashes. Things manifest in many different ways. I mean, I don't know how, I'm not doctor, so I wouldn't be, but a lot of things were there because my neurons, whatever you call it, was not just producing bad chemicals. And that manifested physically in many different ways, which even compounded my anger even more. When you have mouth ulcers, you just can't speak to people. It's horrible.
That's right.
And I suffered for it from literally very young age, and it kind of grew into till I was like, it's been about 6-7 years now. I had no mouth ulcers.
Wow.
So where did those things disappear? Because my body, physical body, started to heal from inside. And there's a secret for it. It's not a secret, but it's something that I said, you know what? If your body's not healthy, your mind won't be, and vice versa.
Sure.
So these are the kind of things. These are like, I talk about this as like it's pretty much straightforward, but they are. It's not complex. It's something that I really like to help and coach people to say, how do you make this happen? Right. Not what you should do, because the world tells you, everybody tells you, but how do you make it happen?
And that's the crux of it, isn't it? Because when people are in periods of feeling very low, or they're in trouble, or they're having some stresses and anxieties and things like that, their mind is not necessarily open enough to see how they create their solution.
True.
Because the focus is on the bad all of the time. And every time you tell your story to yourself in that mindset, the story gets slightly worse each time in your mind, doesn't it? So how do you then come in, see where they are, take a snapshot of their situations and show them these steps? now, do you plug in your tools into their lifestyle, or do you show them how to start developing their own tools?
Yeah, means both actually, both. Plug in and how to use it. Basically, what I tend to do when I'm actually coaching someone, I'm listening very, very carefully to every word they are speaking. And the type of language that they use to describe a situation gives me a sort of insight into how I need to help this person. There isn't a quick fix at all for any of these things, but there is a place where you say you can start from now. And if you continue on this journey, work with me for between 3 and 6 sessions, and I don't guarantee anything, except for if it's from John Lewis, something you buy, they give you 25 years guarantee.
That's right.
But what I say is, you know what? You will experience the difference within first few sessions you have with me, because what has happened, I have planted some seeds now into their thinking. First, we need to sort of pull out all those stuff that's kind of crowding it, and show them this is the baggage that you're carrying. And now it's all clear. The heart and the mind is prepared. The soil is prepared to plant the good seeds now. And that needs to be nurtured and see it grow. Yeah.
I sort of have that sort of perspective of calling that the growth mindset.
Good. Growth mindset. I'll use it if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. So you've planted the seed, and you've now developed into the growth mindset. So you start developing these tools and developing these thinking patterns, and then using you as almost a perspective mirror or a perspective reflector, let's call it, in your role. Some of those new seeds and areas of thought can lead into much more positivity and looking at the situation with different eyes, which is where you then come in to say, this is where you could be working.
Yeah. Right. As I say, like any farmer or any gardener, they have to first prepare the soil before you start planting anything, right? And I think the challenges that I face in coaching anyone, or even trying to make them understand, is that because if they are so heavily influenced by a lot of things, their family, friends, work, consumerism, anything, and you try to put something there, it doesn't go in there. So one thing that I always say to my coaching clients is to say, you know what, you have come to me because obviously you want to change something. You have chosen, you have decided. I'm not a doctor who's going to fix your problems. What I will do is that empower you. In other words, say, you know what, this is a tool for life. You can take it from now and use it until the next 60 years of your life, and maybe build on it. Come up with your own ideas, develop, think, help others, inspire others. That's what, as a coach, I do. If I give them a prescriptive answer, you know, go and do this, prescriptions never get taken.
Yeah.
Medicines are still sitting in the cabinet.
There's that thing, isn't there, where you go and see a doctor, and the doctor says, right, run around the park 3 times a week. Let's get you out of the house and things like that. And it's whilst you're running around the park, all right, you might be getting some good physical exercise, which all obviously helps. But you've still got to come home and face the issues that you've been facing. And I really do believe that growth mindset in terms of people's well-being and having a positive outlook on what's going on. When I walk down Solihull High Street, for instance, sorry, I'm going to go off piste slightly here.
Love to go and listen. But
I walk down Solihull High Street, David, and I look around, and there's lots of anger, there's lots of negativity, there's lots of frustration about things not happening on, people's timetables that they'd like them to happen on, and that breeds sort of the anger and conflict between people. And I see that conflict. People surely can't live in a world like that where there's just constant conflict. Where do they get time to recharge?
I think it's kind of accepted, because when you see majority of the people are doing the same thing, you can't find people who actually say, hey, there's a way out, because their voices do get drowned sometimes, means talking on the radio,
Yeah.
this could reach out to people anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
This is a very powerful tool. And I believe that I'm only one voice, just one guy. I cannot change the world by myself. But if I can help change the world of one person at a time, I'm really, really achieving my objective, because it's something that, I love doing it. Because why should I really care about anybody except for myself? Give me a good reason. We're not obliged to say, care for me. But you do it because something has happened and you want to share, like you share good things with your family, with your children,
Sure.
out of love and care. And you say, what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? It's a question. What do you want to be remembered by,
That's
I said,
right.
just remember me as David, who loved people and he cared for people. That's it. I don't want anything else. Just say, hey, we know Dave. Yeah, great guy, but positive mindset, And it is not something that I've thought about it years ago.
Yeah.
Because I was part of the massive crowd, the herd mentality.
Yeah.
So one of these things that I've learned many years ago, in fact, 1979, when I was in Massachusetts, one guy said to, Americans use the word turkey. You turkey, you turkey. They use quite a lot and say, if you want to fly like an eagle, don't hang around with turkeys. Because everybody knows where do turkeys end up. Eagle mindset is a very different mindset. And funnily enough, I studied a life of eagle. I was just reading books on eagle to say how they live so long and how they fly so high. They're not in big, massive herds, but they still have got the overview of the thing, what they're seeing. They know what they want from 2 miles up in the air. They come and get it and they fly back off. That's a mindset. It's clutter-free mindset. And I am living with people who have got a lot of clutters in their mind. And you think, what can I do? Now, I can't just jump in and say, please, here, I can help you. No, I can't do that. I just say, just live your life and let people see it. As they say, let your light shine wherever you go. Be the salt, flavors things as you go along. And I carried all these principles in my life as I grew up learning as a kid, and never really understood any of that. So all the great quotes that we hear from people who have said these quotes, we read it. I put out one on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And it's forgotten 30 seconds later what we read. But I decided to say, these people wrote these things because it meant something to them. And that's why we are still reading 100, 500,000 years later.
Yeah. Life perspectives and life thoughts. Let me move the conversation on, David, if I can. So we've changed our thinking, we've changed our perspective, and we are much more positive, optimistic style of person. It's not going to change overnight, obviously. It needs to be developed and grown. When you're working with your clients, do you see very many business-related stresses coming to you, or is it much more a personal sort of social thing?
I think business and personal, because I work for the local services, Birmingham City Council, for many years, 20 plus years, and civil service. So I worked in a corporate environment. And this is my observation, right? People have different views on it, but this was my observation. My observation was, when you run a business or you're responsible for something, very big, you are still that same person. And you still go as Jeff or David or whoever you are home. You bring your home situation into work. You try to forget it and carry on with your work. But then also, you take your work situation back at home.
Yeah.
So you're faring both way across. So where is the problem? The problem is, how am I seeing these challenges that I'm facing? You can't change a worker's behavior overnight, their lack of cooperation or whatever it is, production, whatever they're doing, and it's not helping the business. How are you going to change those people? How are you going to communicate that message that'll help that person to say, you know what, yeah, what I'm doing, I shouldn't be doing this now. I should be supportive of my business. That makes the boss's life much easier. Now, outside scenarios we can't control. It's virtually impossible. Your suppliers, your business partners, your other things that you are dealing, you're connected your business with, you can't change them all. But what you can do is that mend some of the relationships that have been severed through the process. Because sometimes we are stuck in a job or stuck in a business where we cannot get out. So our relationship is still not working, but we are still doing businesses. Your heart and your mind has been removed from it. I only come to you because you just sell this water. I'm going to buy from you and I'm just going to walk away. But one day you could be selling me something else in that bottle of water. I don't know. Because you don't read. So this is something that I learned in relationship is the key factor. Whether you're at home or whether you're at business. People do business with people. Just the way you treated me when I came in. You stood out there for me. You welcomed me. Wow. You know, those small things. For you, it was very natural. For me, it was a wow. You see, these small things that we need to be aware of, our small little actions, makes a very big impact. Like a small pebble you put into a pond, but the ripples are much bigger. You know, and I think we have to see that we are people. People have feelings, emotions, all kinds of things. Our words, our behaviors, our action is going to have an impact one way or the other. You know, so I think going back to business, yes, problem is not the business, but who runs it, how it's managed, how can you get your team back together? Is your team having conflict amongst themselves that they're not supporting one another? What is causing the conflict? Where is the root cause? You know, now in this environment, it's too much to be involved into. We have given you orders, do it, or you go. Actually, that's what happens in China. I've been there 24 times, worked with a lot of people out there. Hey, if you don't like my job, go. We'll find someone else. And there are literally thousands of people queuing for the same job. But they're not queuing because they want the job. They need the money.
Sure. And that is things that are happening over there in China. When you reflect on it and you see that there's, 1.3 billion people in that country, and you think to yourself, well, if I don't want to do that particular job, you're right. There are thousands of people.
Yeah, I think that the needs are our basic needs are, if we are struggling to meet even our basic needs, food, clothing, shelter, health, if those are not met, people are doing all sorts of things, you know. And I was one of those guys myself. You know, I didn't come from a very wealthy family or nothing like that. I came here with no degrees, couldn't speak even English very well. And I was like an underdog when I came to this country, and I had to compete with the big boys. So how do you find yourself? What are my chances of even getting a job? Because obviously the competition is too high. So you feel like you're an underdog all the time. That's the mindset you develop. I'm just an underdog. I'm just a cleaner. I'm just a road sweeper. And we have actually what you call demean our own work, which is so important.
Yeah, it's incredibly important.
But when you say go to China or India, you say, oh, my son's a doctor. There's a pride. There's a thing. My son's a cleaner. There's a drop in voice. There's no. You won't even want to say to other people that my son's a, you know.
But without that cleaner, the doctor wouldn't be able to do any operations.
Correct. We need everybody who's fulfilling, a task, a job that we all need.
Yeah. We all pull the same straw.
Absolutely.
Right, let's move on a little bit with our podcast. Thank you if you are listening into our sort of life coaching and understanding life perspectives today with David Andrew. Really, really renowned life coach in our area, and we're really proud and pleased to have him here in the studio with us. The last little thing that I'd like to talk to you about this on this particular thing is people nowadays tend not to have what in the olden days was called a job for life. Now, you've come from a early retirement situation and you've found a vocation where you are giving back to the community and you're working with all the different stakeholders that you're working with. This effectively for you is stage 2, stage 3 of your life journey then.
Yeah. I've been through a lot of stages. This is maybe stage 4 of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why are you seeing very many people that are coming to you saying, you know, I thought I was going to have a career in banking or, you know, finance or whatever it happens to be, and they've got to their point in life where they change. And there is a change there. And how do you deal with the anxieties of change? All right, the easiest ones, of course, are how do I pay the bills? How do I, you know, provide for the family and things like that? But underlying all of that, there is also some anxiety of where they are in life. You know, if you think mid-40s and you're halfway there and you think, oh, wow, what do I do now? You know, what gives life purpose to people? You found yours. You're very lucky.
I think if luck had to play part in my life, I would have been a millionaire by now. Wow. That's what I wanted to start. You know, I started the journey of wanting to be a millionaire. I had my own golfing brand, come out with a golfing brand, and it was a hobby that I was just sort of taking it too far out and with no real business acumen.
Yeah.
Just passion.
Yeah.
Just passion.
Enthusiasm
and, you know, zeal and everything else. But the underlying, the objective was that I wanted to live a millionaire, that I could be the person who flies aeroplanes and drives fast cars or all that kind of stuff, which I did some of it. Obviously got me into a lot of debts. It wasn't the money that I actually had. I was still working.
Sure, yeah.
But there is a part of you that wants to do all these things. They say, if I don't start now, when will I start? So you find a gap and you just jump into it. And that's exactly what I did. And with no direction, just a vision, just a goal with no pathways, no direction can end up anywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So anyway, I ended up in that situation, and the change happened. As you said, like, you know, when we come to the 40s, transition happens at many different ages. When you're 18, even as young as 12, 13, 18, 21, 25, 30, 40, and everything has been labeled now. There's midlife crisis or over the hill or whatever, you know, all these kind of things. And what we have done is, without actually realizing, we have put those thoughts into our thinking. And when you hit a certain age, you think, oh, gosh, I'm 40. I've been in this job for too long. Is this all my life is all about? I should be doing something else. Now, that enlightenment, if that's the word I want to use, happens to a lot of guys, women as well. And we think, what's the way out? So we focus away. We focus onto something new now from what we have been doing, because we think, you know what, that's all boring now. I've done it for long. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to focus on something else or start focusing. And when that happens, you kind of let go of what you've been doing, which was your security for a very long time. Yeah. And now you're trying to cling on to something else. Now, if luck plays a part, it works for a lot of people. It has worked for people. But I thought it wasn't lucky. They actually knew what they wanted to do when they wanted to shift their mind. And before they jumped into it, they thought, let's see, I'm going to take a bit of risk over here. Because without risk, there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
So when you know that I can take a risk over here, and if I do lose, I will be able to manage the result of those risks. One thing I said to anybody who wants to take a risk, and if you're married, and if you've got a wife and kids, make sure that you don't jeopardize their lives.
Yeah, sure.
Because they don't deserve that.
No.
It wasn't them. It was my ambition, right? And I did the same thing, right? And I did exactly what I'm telling what not should be done, because I did not know anything better. I was blinkered. But that's just me. I'm not saying every guy is blinkered, but that can possibly happen. So to move forward, if you want to bring change, ask yourself, why am I changing? What do I want to see when I get this change? How will my life look any different from what it looks now? What kind of impact will it have on my family, on my family members, your wife, kids, relationships, everything, your health? Now, when you just take a stock of that, just those few questions that I just mentioned, I think, you know what, let me just pen down a few answers. Because when you start writing things down from your head, at least you can read it, because your thoughts will come and go away.
They do.
They do, right?
Yeah.
So when you write things down, I say, you know what, actually, now let me see if this really makes sense. Take a bit of time to reflect. Speak to a friend who really cares about you. Now, these are simple things, but often it's not done because we take messages from many other sources. Instagram, for example, social media, Twitter, whatever it is, because everybody's trying to give some kind of message. But maybe not all the messages are meant for you. They might sound good, but they're not meant for you, right? So you need to think for yourself, why am I doing this change? How will my life look after I've achieved this? What if I don't achieve? What other options can I have? So these are kind of coaching questions which I'm doing at this moment. I help people reflect on and then say, let's talk about it and see what truly works for you that you can really hold on to. Not by your fingernails, at least have a bit of grip on what you want to hold on to.
That's a good visual representation, actually. Not by your fingernails, actually hold on to it. You work in the justice system, don't you? And you help people that need a little bit of direction and things like that. So how do you feel about when you're giving back to people that are going through those particular life experiences? Because you obviously walk into a place where people are in custody.
In prisons.
In prisons.
Proper prisons.
And you think to yourself, right, we now need to look at your life decisions, your journeys and things. And how long does it take for you to start getting those relationships with those people?
I think the key thing is, how do I start building a relationship with those people? And that is the most challenging thing for me. And one thing that I've learned in life, even if I met Donald Trump tomorrow, or vice, it probably never happened, but if I did, my question would be to say, am I transparent enough or vulnerable enough to speak to you? Because if I go all high and mighty, the person is going to just put a barrier against me. Say, you got it all together. It's easy for you to say. I just say, you know what? Listen, mate, you're sitting there and I'm here today trying to help you. But all I have to do is one silly mistake, right? Out on the road, drive 100 miles an hour like crazy somewhere or hurt somebody, and I could be right here where you are today. So what's the difference between you and me? And that's the question. I just put it out to them, straight away. Yeah. And that's the thinker. There isn't a quick answer.
There's no difference.
Yeah, there's no difference. So I just made myself say, you know what? I'm just like you. Flesh and blood, breathing the same air, under the same sun, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but what I'm here to do is to help you, because you asked for help. And because you asked, you'll get it.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And that's the first step, isn't it? Asking and deciding that you need some help.
True.
Great stuff. Thank you very much for joining us here on effectively the well-being and positive mental approach to Solihull Radio. And I appreciate your time because I know you're a very busy man.
Thank you for inviting me. And if people want to get in touch with me...
Yeah? How do we do it?
They can just... look for davidandrewcoaching.com, or they can send me an email. I'm on Facebook, Twitter.
All the social medias.
Instagram is a little bit less, but mostly on LinkedIn and Facebook. Yeah.
Just before we finish, what do you think about the social media platforms?
I've been asked that question several times.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. The thing is that it's a tool. We forget that it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It's like a chef who has got the most sharpest knives in his kitchen. It's a tool that he uses it for a particular reason.
Yeah.
But he could misuse it too. I think social media is one of those kind of tools that has enabled us to reach the world faster than ever before, right? And the tool is in everyone's hand, including a child. If they are not taught how to use this tool, they could use it the way they want it. And I
Which
think,
might be inappropriate.
exactly. It could work for good, it could work for bad, but if nobody's trained you how to use this tool, there are safety catches to everything in life, you know? And I think social media, I never said social media is bad or should be banned or it's making life miserable. No, it's just a tool that we are not using it correctly. And we need to learn what's working for us and what isn't. I think if it divides the family into bits and people can't even talk to each other anymore, I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you very much, David, for coming today.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.